So right now, every American has, throughout their life, from birth to death, has an insurance policy that for the average 25-year-old is worth about $2 million. If they become disabled, they get in a car accident and break their back or their neck or something, if something horrible were to happen to you, if the breadwinner of the family dies and the children are left with no source of income, there is a $1 to $2 million insurance policy that will protect you for the rest of your life. It's called Social Security. What I just described represents about a third of all the payments coming out of Social Security. Additionally, it's got $2.6 trillion in its trust fund right now, and it would be solvent for the next 25 years. And if we simply lifted the cap, people making over $106,000 a year don't pay anything into Social Security after that $106,000, after the tax on that $106,000. After that, Bill Gates pays nothing into it. Warren Buffett pays nothing into it. The banksters on Wall Street pay nothing into it. So if we simply lifted that cap, Social Security would be solvent forever. As it is, 25 years from now, it'll pay out 80% of benefits. So what do we do about that? There's a lot of people running around saying, oh, I've got a solution. Peter Ferrara is one of them. He's a lawyer, policy analyst, senior fellow with the Carlson Center for Public Policy. The website is theccpp.org, as in Carlson Center for Public Policy. Peter, welcome back to the program.
Glad to be here.
So you have a way to solve the problem, I guess, is the word that you would use. I think it's the Social Security shortfall that's going to happen 25 years from now.
Well, Paul Ryan introduced a bill that I helped him write in 2004, providing an option for all workers to choose personal account option for Social Security. He reintroduced the bill in 2005. Those were scored both times by the chief actuary of Social Security as achieving full solvency for Social Security without cutting benefits or raising taxes. And he concluded that the personal accounts were so obviously a better deal that 100% of workers would choose the personal accounts. That's backed up by the real-world experience of Chile, where they allowed workers the freedom of choice, and almost 100% of workers did choose that.
Peter, wait a second. First of all, in Chile, it was the military dictator, Augusto Pinochet, who killed off the Social Security system because he thought it was socialist and replaced it with a bankster-driven system. And that system now, because the banksters charge fees, in some years people make negative 3%, negative 5%. Michelle Bachelet, the new president of Chile, allowed people to buy, recreated the publicly funded Social Security system, and people are flocking to it in droves. How can you call this? I mean, this was neoliberalism at its worst when the dictator said to people, sorry, no more Social Security. Of course, 100% of the people, went for the private plans. There was nothing else.
None of that is true. You're reading from a fairy tale bedtime story. They had the choice of staying in the old plan or the new plan. 97% of workers chose the new plan.
No.
Those scores by the chief actuary of Social Security are still available on his website, www.ssa.gov. He scored another bill introduced last September.
Okay, this was for retirement benefits, right?
Account for Social Security.
This was for retirement benefits. How are you going to pay for the one-third of payments that Social Security pays out to people who might be, a 25-year-old who's listening right now who, God forbid, gets in a car accident and finds that they have to spend the rest of their life in bed or in a wheelchair?
What they have in Chile is private disability insurance, that private disability benefits, private life insurance that provides the survivor's benefits, and those are higher.
We had all of that here in the United States before 1935, Peter. We had all of it.
Yeah,
E.F. Stone made a fortune in the 1900s building an insurance company.
Let's just make this simple, Tom. Instead of trying to choose between your lies and my facts, just let each worker choose.
Lies?
Just throw it open and let them, each worker, make the choice like they did in Chile. And maybe you're afraid that the chief actuary of Social Security is right and 100%.
Peter, tell me. Hang on just a second. First of all, I'm frankly offended by being called a liar. I think that's pretty offensive.
Your entire show from the beginning to the end is a fairy tale and a lie. You make the introduction.
Peter, these are not lies. Anybody can look this stuff up. Social Security is solvent. Social Security is sitting on $2.6 trillion. Social Security will do just, and if you raise the cap, it would do great. And we did have what you're suggesting before 1935, and people were dying in their old age.
What you just said is a perfect example of how false everything you say is. You said they have $2.6 trillion. The total amount of money Social Security has, I'll tell you exactly what it is. It's 0.00. They have 0.00. What's in the so-called Social Security Trust Fund are not assets. There are no assets in the trust fund. Those are liabilities
Treasury
of
bills.
federal taxpayers.
They're
And let me
Treasury
tell you
bills.
something.
So
Let me
when
tell you
George
something.
W. Bush
Let me
was
teach
born,
you.
Peter, you're saying that the millions of dollars in his trust fund when he was born that were in treasuries, that the Bush family had invested in nice, safe government treasuries, that wasn't real money?
All the money in the Social Security Trust Fund, supposed money, are actually recognized in federal accounting as part of the national debt. They are not assets.
All treasuries are.
Taxpayers.
If
So
you buy a
the official
$1,000
US
treasury
government
bill, it's part of the
disagrees with
federal
you.
debt. So what?
The reason you keep interrupting me is because you're wrong, and you need to.
No, I
apologize.
keep interrupting you,
The
Peter,
reason
because you
keep
put out
interrupting me
things
is
that
because
aren't
you
right. And when you can't win a battle without personal attacks, that's pretty pathetic, Peter. I'm sorry, pathetic is a personal attack. I take it back.
You have not let me finish a sentence without interrupting me. So
well, it's because you're trying to filibuster me. It's not a sentence. It's a paragraph that I've interrupted.
I haven't finished a sentence yet. How am I
finish a sentence.
You spend most of the 10 minutes we have on the introduction. You do that every time I'm on your show.
Finish a sentence.
How am I filibustering you? You got a whole 3 hours there, and you can't allow me 10 minutes to talk.
Finish
So
a sentence,
the official U.S. government recognizes that you're wrong because they recognize the Social Security Trust Fund as part of the national debt, subject to the debt limit, not as assets of the federal government.
But I have to interrupt you. That's because the Social Security Trust Fund has the money, the surplus money that they have. They have a choice. Where do we invest this? Do we give it to Goldman Sachs, who's going to screw us, or do we put it into Treasury bills? And they put it into Treasury bills, which is what I think we all want.
It's not invested in Treasury bills, Tom. It's spent. The money's taken and spent.
It is invested in Treasury bills, Peter.
No, Tom, that's factually wrong. It's a statement of the legal authority.
Peter,
that Social Security has. Tom, let me explain it to you. You don't know. I'm a lawyer. I know what the law says. It's a statement of the legal authority that Social Security has to draw from general revenues. There are $0 in the Social Security Trust Fund. It's just a statement of legal authority that Social Security has to draw from general revenues.
If you go to the
U.S. government statement, don't tell me where to go.
Go to the New York Times or go to any. I'm not telling you. Go to the New
York Times, Tom.
Go to the New York Stock Exchange, Peter, and type in TLT. TLT is an exchange traded fund of U.S. federal treasuries, and there's a lot of people buying this is a way that you can buy treasury bills, and you can buy them in $15, $20 increments, whatever TLT is selling for these days. And a lot of people invest in it because it doesn't go crazy when the markets go crazy. It's a way of buying treasuries without having to buy them directly from the federal government. Are you saying that the people who run that bond fund are just scamming all of their customers because the treasury bills and bonds are worthless?
Social Security does not go out in the market and buy treasury bills or treasury bonds.
No, they have a unique type just for themselves.
Let me explain it to you, Tom. They would be investing if they did that, but that's not what they do. Instead, they give the money to the federal government for specially issued new treasury bonds, and that money is then spent. So all the money that you claim in the Social Security Trust Fund has all been spent. They have is an accounting formation.
Peter, if you buy $1,000 worth of treasury bonds,
well, that's not what Social Security does.
That money, when you give that $1,000 to the federal government, it gets spent. When you turn that $1,000 bond in, you get the money back.
I've explained to you already that that's not the way the Social Security program works. They do not go out in the market.
Then how is it that the Social Security Fund right this minute is liquidating bonds and using them to pay benefits? They're doing it as we speak.
If they went out in the market and bought treasury bonds, that would be investing in treasury bonds.
No, that would be giving money to Goldman Sachs.
That would be investing in treasury bonds. That's not how the Social Security thing operates. Social Security transfers the so-called surplus, which they no longer have. But what they did was they transferred the surplus to the federal government in return for issuing a new bond, which the federal government then spent. So that is not an investment transaction. That is a spending transaction. And that's how the federal accounting accounts for it as part of the national debt, not as an asset. There's nothing in the Social Security Trust Funds to sell. They could turn it back into the federal government
except
from the taxpayers, which is double payment because the tax then coming out of the income tax as well as the payroll tax. But
Peter, I finally have to interrupt you. Peter Ferrara, thecpp.org. Check it out.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you very much for being with us today. As always, a pleasure.